Hello and welcome to the Medical Assisting Meet and Greet. This presentation will give you an overview of what to look forward to when you first begin with Rasmussen in the Medical Assisting program, as well as going over what you can expect as you go through lab classes. To start off with, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Carissa Legg. I am the Medical Assisting Program Coordinator, but I am also the lab instructor for all of your clinical on-campus lab classes, as well as your externship coordinator. So I wear very many hats here, but all of my hats kind of fall under one role of program coordinator. I've been with Rasmussen University for 11 years. When I first started in 2012, I was working as an adjunct faculty member. So what that means is I taught night classes, not full-time, just once a week. In 2015, I was offered a full-time position. So I came on full-time teaching lab classes during the day, which is all we have anymore. And then in 2018, I was given the opportunity to become the program coordinator, and I took that. The previous program coordinator was retiring, so I stepped into the role, and that's where I've been ever since. I am also an active medical assistant, still working in the field, just part-time, but I've been working in field since 2007. A couple of other people that I work very closely within this program with are going to be your two advisors, and depending on where your name falls in the alphabet, so A through L, you're going to have Shireen Hayes. M through Z, you're going to have Robert Hill. So both of those individuals and myself work very closely to make sure that you are staying on task with all of your classes, as well as your success here with Rasmussen. So as a medical assistant, what does that look like for you? What will you be doing? What is a medical assistant? So what I would like to do is take a few minutes and let Dr. Gretchen Phillips talk to you about what her view of a medical assistant is. She is a family physician who works very closely with Rasmussen graduates, so she has a firsthand experience on what a medical assistant really is.
1 day of age to 100 years of age. My medical assistant is a...
Let's start that video from the beginning, shall we?
I'm Dr. Gretchen Phillips. I'm a family physician, and I see patients from 1 day of age to 100 years of age. My medical assistant is a key person in my care team at the clinic. My medical assistant knows my patients. She's able to field phone calls from my patients and then greet them at the clinic, get them set up in the exam rooms, and have everything ready for me. So when I come in, I know what's wrong and I know what I can do to help my patients. Then at the end of the visit, she's able to come in, make sure that my patients know what they need, and make sure that they find whatever resources they need after their visit with me. My medical assistant and I work very closely together, and most days we can see a lot of patients, we can get their questions answered and get their needs met, and together we can get out of the clinic in a decent hour. Now some days, clinics are going to be crazy, people are going to be sick. To be able to get the nurses involved and keep me on schedule, that's where my medical assistant really shines. Becoming a medical assistant allows someone to tap into different parts of their personality. There's certainly a caretaker aspect to all of us. We want to make someone feel comfortable, especially if they're talking about something difficult, like with their healthcare. There's also an organizational part of the personality that needs to come in to keep these busy doctors on task, and also to make sure that people's questions are getting answered. And then there's ongoing education, where as a medical assistant, the terminology and the different experiences in clinic that you run into are always going to be changing, and there will always be new information. It's never a boring job. So it's very important at all levels of medical care that they have a very broad base of knowledge from the classroom and they know the science of medicine, but then also to have served in an externship such as they offer at Rasmussen College outside of a controlled laboratory where it's a real live experience. Patients are always changing and something will always happen in a clinic that you can never expect, and being exposed to that kind of environment will make my medical assistant more prepared for what's going to happen in the course of our day together.
So again, that's just kind of a brief overview of what a medical assistant is. During your time on campus, we'll really work on the skills that will make you the best medical assistant possible, but also heighten other skills that you already have that we just need to make sure shine through as well. Speaking of being on campus, where will you be working when you're on campus?
One day of age.
So we have
One day of age.
There we go. We have a campus where we have a lab, and our lab lecture room is together. If you ever come to the Rasmussen Rockford campus, it is on the 3rd floor. It's room 300. So what I want to do is give you a quick tour with some instructions on what we do in the lab and what that really looks like. All right, so as you walk into our classroom, lab class, first thing that you will notice is our mock station for rooming. In this, we'll have 2 exam beds. We have ophthalmoscopes, otoscopes, blood pressure cuffs, and stethoscopes. Moving along that same wall, we have a sink where you will learn how to do hand washing as well as sterile hand washing, surgical scrubbing, things of that nature. Walking along even further, you'll see our autoclave, where we'll learn how to our baby scale and baby weighing station. This is our injection station, where you will learn how to draw up injections and then perform them on one another with sterile water. We'll do more lab testing back here. We have a urinalysis machine, as well as 2 centrifuges. One is for capillary tubes and one is for blood and urine. Continuing on, you will see our station that we use for practicing blood draws. So we have artificial arms and artificial blood. However, these are just for practice. You will actually move out to one another and do this procedure on one another. And you'll do that here at this station. That is our phlebotomy station. We have 2 phlebotomy chairs, one there and one there. And all of our equipment is in that cabinet just there. All right, and then the other piece that I want to show you is actually what just the classroom itself looks like. So we have 6 sets of tables, 2 tables per set, 1 person per table. And there is no assigned seating, so you can sit wherever you would like. We do have a scale up front, as well as our skeleton, Mr. Jack Skellington. He is used for demonstrations when we're talking about orthopedics and things of that nature. And we also have our whiteboard. So we will do lecture at our tables and then move throughout the lab to do our procedures. So that is what our lab room will look like. That's where you will spend all of your lab classes. So anytime that you have a lab class, that's where we will be. So what does the program really consist of? So with this, the main portion of your classes or your program will be 3 lab lecture classes. With the lab classes, they will meet on different days of the week, but the times will be the same. So as new students coming in, your first round of clinical courses will be on Thursdays. And during your first class, we call it the Fundamentals of Clinical Laboratory Techniques. What we're doing in this class is really introducing you to the basic skills that come with being a medical assistant. We'll also teach you about the different laws of medicine that apply to a medical assistant, as well as working on team building skills and learning how to do teamwork. In this class, this first class, you will also learn things like basic phlebotomy, basic vital signs, administering injections. Again, that is to one another, as well as the phlebotomy is on one another. We'll learn how to apply HIPAA and what that means, as well as the Good Samaritan laws. And we'll also learn CPR and first aid. Again, this class will meet on Thursdays from 9 a.m. until 12:50 p.m. You should plan to be on campus that entire time. So please make sure that you do have any sort of daycare set up, any schooling set up that needs to happen, or if you need to have a ride, make sure that you have all of that in place. As you progress through the program, you will change the day that you meet. So fundamentals, that first clinical class, is the only one on Thursdays. The next two subsequent classes will be on Wednesdays from 9 a.m. until 12:50 p.m. Again, that time doesn't change, just the day of the week. So quarter one, you're on Thursdays. Quarter two and quarter three, you're on Wednesdays. I'm going to say that again because I'm not sure I said that right. Quarter one, you guys will meet on Thursdays from 9 to 12:50. Quarters 2 and 3, you'll meet on Wednesday from 9 to 12:50. You'll also have a lecture portion that goes with your lab classes. It is not taught by myself, but it does go hand in hand. So you want to make sure that you are passing both courses, as they're just equally important. I only teach the lab side of things. After the 3 lab classes have been completed, you then go into an externship. Externship is, or you should plan for it to be, a Monday through Friday situation, 8 hours a day. Now, if you know that that is something that you cannot do, that's okay. You don't have to back out of the program completely, right? That's always everyone's first fear. A lot of our clinical sites will work with you, but you really should plan to work at like 16 to 20 hours per week. So two days, 2.5 days a week at your clinical site to make sure that you can get all 180 clinical hours completed in the 11 weeks that you have. I do set up your externship. I always ask you where you would like to go, but we have quite a bit of time before that. So don't freak out about your externship at this moment. Just know that that will be the end of your program, is having to do a 180-hour on-the-job externship. So what do you need for the lab class? Well, first and foremost, for the lab class, there are a few things that you do need. The first thing will be scrubs. You'll want to purchase your Rasmussen scrubs. We have an agreement with 2 sites. The first one is called Sweet Styles, and they will send you an email to your student email. Now, you can absolutely order them through Sweet Styles. It's not a problem. What I always suggest, though, is maybe taking a look at our other co-partner, which is Scrubs and Beyond, here in the Rockford area. It's actually on East State Street in front of the Target. And I always suggest that because Sweet Styles is great, but their scrubs are unisex, so they are a little bit more bigger, boxier. And if that's what you're comfortable in, by all means, there's nothing wrong with those scrubs. But if you're one of those people like me that likes your clothes to fit a little bit better, or even just make you feel a little bit more like yourself, Scrubs and Beyond is a great option. You can go in and purchase your scrubs there, as well as try them on. Now, the difference here is that when you do go to Scrubs and Beyond, you need to let them know that you are in the Medical Assisting Health Sciences program, because they will take your top and embroider it with our logo. Your scrubs do need to be this maroon or wine color that you see in front of you. And you'll want to make sure that you have those on every time you come to the lab class. The next thing that you're going to need is a pair of appropriate shoes for the lab. They need to be closed-toed shoes, preferably with a non-skid bottom. Things like boots, flip-flops, sandals, and Crocs are not appropriate footwear for the lab, as they do not protect your entire foot if there was an accident. So please keep that in mind. I know our summer months are coming up and winter months, when those come up, you want to wear the things like the flip-flops and the boots. Totally acceptable to wear them to class, but once you get to class, switch your shoes out to appropriate footwear. Next, you'll want to make sure that you Do cover any tattoos that you have. I am in no way, shape, or form telling you that you cannot have tattoos. You absolutely can. They just need to be covered to give that professional look. You would never know it, but I have 10 tattoos and I hide them or cover them at all times when I'm on campus. I set the example that I want you to follow as well. Next thing is you want to make sure that your hair is a natural color. Highlights are fine as long as, again, that color is a natural color. So no rainbow colors, so greens, purples, pinks, things like that, blues, all of that is not natural, but you can have highlights in your hair, as you see I do. If your hair is longer than shoulder length, it needs to be pulled back every class period. In the lab class, we're going to be working with bodily fluids, blood, urine, feces. You don't want your hair to actually fall into those things, so in order to do that, just tie it back. Next, your nails should be kept short and unpainted. So what that means is if you hold up your hand palm facing you, you should not see the whites of any fingertips, and you want to remove any nail polish or acrylic nails that you have. Those do harbor bacteria, so you want to make sure that you are removing them prior to class. Again, I hold myself to the same standard. I understand that you're probably looking at my fingers right now going, but your nails are painted. They are currently, but when classes start, they will not be. You also want to make sure any piercings in the face are either removed or you place a clear stud in them. Those can be very distracting and give an unprofessional look. Again, I'm not telling you how your body should look. I'm just telling you to give that professional look. We want to make sure we have some of these things under wraps. Be cautious with wearing any perfumes or colognes because we don't know who's going to have a reaction to those or those who have a sensitivity to certain smells. So I always suggest just don't wear it to class if you can. With that, that also includes smoking. If you are a smoker, I would ask you to please make sure you do not smoke in your uniform. However, if this is something that you're unable to do, please carry a bottle of Febreze with you and spray your uniform before you come to class, just so that way any smoke smell is off of your scrubs, hopefully. We'll also need either a laptop or tablet or some sort of device that you can do your work on. A cell phone is not an acceptable device. We do have laptops on campus that I can rent out to you while you're here on campus, so you can have those to use as well. We'll be doing a lot of group activity in this first course, so you'll want to make sure that you do have a, again, laptop or tablet so you can actively participate in those group activities. When you signed up for your classes in this program, you should have received a blood pressure cuff and stethoscope. It should be being mailed to you, to your home address, and you should receive it, I would say, by week 3 or 4 of the quarter. You'll want to make sure that you start bringing that every day to class when you come. In the first course, we'll actually start using them around week 3 or 4, so that's really when you want to start bringing it. And then after that, it's every day that we have a lab class, you'll want to bring that. If you don't like the stethoscope or blood pressure cuff that you are given or that came with the program, perfectly fine for you to order your own either off of Amazon or Scrubs and Beyond, whatever you're comfortable with. If you already have a stethoscope that you really like to use, it's fine for you to bring that. There's nothing against that, okay? Just because you are given one with the program, it is not the one that is required for you to use when you're on campus. The last thing that you'll need is a watch. I don't care if that is an Apple Watch, a Fitbit, or a $5 watch from Walmart. It does not matter to me. It just needs to either have second hands that are visible or the ability for you to turn on seconds, so that way you have them on your clock face. You'll need those when we start doing vital signs, and then after that, it will be part of the uniform that I expect you to have on every single class. All right, so that is kind of a roundabout of the course program that you're going to be in. If you have any questions, please make sure that you reach out to myself or one of your advisors. My information is here on the screen. You've got my email as well as my direct phone number here on campus. And then hopefully you should have your email and phone numbers of your advisors, again, either Shireen Hayes or Bobby Hill. Thank you all for joining today. It is a pleasure, and I can't wait to meet all of you on day 1 of your lab classes. Bye.